Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm so glad that you found your way here and it's awesome. It's Sunday. So let's dive in. I want to get into this right away because it's a big, huge topic that we're going to be looking at today. But of course, I'm going to be doing readings once I'm gone through my topic of the day. And those readings you can schedule in, and the link is in the top of the chat, wherever I'm showing up here. So it's pinned at the top of the chat, and you can schedule in there. So one second here. So yeah, so anyhow, I've set up, oh my gosh, there's so much to say. I am doing a workshop in March, and that is going to be with Brian Lahr. So you can check us out on Thursday. We'll be doing an interview on the topic of telekinesis, and it's going to be fantabulous because Brian is a trip. He's a real trip. He's so funny. He's so fun. He's such a good teacher. And he really helps us to dive into that layer of consciousness that we need to access in order to create the energies and move stuff. And we've done this workshop before, but we did it so long ago, pre-COVID in 2019 or 2018, and it went amazingly. Like people were moving things, things were rolling around, things were spinning around. And at the end of it, one of the participants even manifested salt into a shaker. She might even be watching this now. I don't know. But it happened, and that's the truth. And he also blew out my light bulbs. I had this lamp, and it was always on my desk, giving me light, right? Being my light. And we were talking, and all of a sudden I see Brian starting to concentrate. I'm like, what are you doing? And then all of a sudden, pang! And it just blew. It just blew. My lamp, like the bulb blew in the lamp. And so the shards of glass were scattered around, around my lamp. It was crazy. And there's so much more that I've experienced with Brian. So I'm really happy to be working with him again and doing this again because it is time. It is time. And part of the big problem, and that's what we're going to be diving in today, is that people deny their abilities and their capabilities until it's proven by science. It's like they need permissions from science to tell them what they're capable of doing instead of exploring it and seeing it themselves. And then science, by the time it's approved that, okay, this happens, we're going to talk about this with telepathy today, which I'll be doing a telepathy workshop, but in September. Um, First they deny it, and then they say, yeah, it's possible, but you need a brain implant. And we'll talk about that. And but there's a lot I'm doing in this first quarter of the year. So let's start off with February 13th, where I'm doing a beginner's aura reading workshop. So for those of you, it's just a one-time meet. It's not that expensive. It's 50 or 55 euros. So just check it out. And we talk about and we meet and we practice, and I share with you how to read auras. So if you've always wanted to open up or access that psychic part of you, that intuitive part of you, and you've kind of been hesitant and you've kind of been shy and you can't find a group around where you can practice this stuff, maybe you're, I don't know, a friend of mine is in Colorado Springs and she can't find a group to practice with. So maybe you're somewhere there. Come here, come over to us and practice your psychic abilities and your psychic gifts and intuition. So I named it aura reading, but we'll be diving into pendulums. Maybe we'll tap into cards a little bit and just explore the whole realm, right? So this is a beginner, so don't feel shy about attending at all, and don't feel worried or scared or anything like that, intimidated. It's absolute beginners, and you're going to have a lot of fun. Then February 17th, and this is for you, Erin. Hi, Erin. I'll be doing the year ahead of the Fire Horse, and the Fire Horse is it's wild. It is wild. The last fire horse year, I think, was 1966, and that's when the Black Panthers were founded. So it's going to be interesting this year. And anyways, with Pluto and Aquarius and all of that, which is staying there till 2042. But anyways, we'll be doing the Year of the Fire Horse. So that's going to be an activation evening, an alignment with the energies, a blasting through of whatever is keeping you stuck in whatever area of your life, because this is the year to go, go, go and get her done, get it done, get it, get it. Yep. Yep. This is the year for it. So we're going to be doing that. That's going to be February 17th, which also is the new moon, I think, solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius. So fantabulous energies that are going to be happening there. So make sure you sign up for that. Where you get access to all of this information, what I'm doing is through my Patreon, because Patreon has newsletters. Yay! So I just sent out my first last night with everything listed that I am doing. So then after the Feb 17th, so we have the aura readings Feb 13th, we have the channeling Feb 17th, then we have the workshop, telekinesis workshop in March, which is, I'm so excited about that. It's unbelievable. I can't wait to get back into these energies and to start moving things. And I mean, I already like, where is it? I've got my Psy wheel. Woo. So I've got my side wheel here, and sometimes it works, most times it doesn't, to be honest. So I still have to do a lot of practice again. But for those of you that don't know what a psi wheel is, this is it. It's literally a piece of foil on a toothpick stuck into a something that will hold the toothpick upright. And that wasn't my psi ability, no. But you can see that it can turn, right? You can see that it can turn. And it's turning right now because obviously I'm speaking, my breath is hitting it. But when it's on the table, still in front of me, nothing's moving, I'm not breathing on it, and we're holding our hands left and right, sometimes it'll turn. And of course, there are scientific explanations for it. True. But this is just how we begin. And then we continue. We start rolling pencils and doing all kinds of things where there is no official scientific explanation for that. But this is the first step, or one of the first steps that we're going to do in the telekinesis workshop. And he also, like I said, he brings us to manifest things like this woman that ended up manifesting salt in a jar. So that is absolutely possible. And just because they say it isn't, who cares? They've said so many things over the years, and it's all not true. It's on us to develop and to discover our own capabilities and possibilities. It's on us to explore that, right? It's not for us to manifest what somebody else says about our limitations. Then in April, there's a new Lenormand course coming out, and I'm doing this in a slightly different way. But I'm also introducing my own Lenormand deck. So those of you that love Lenormand, that have had done the courses with me, that read their own Lenormands, I think you're going to love this. I think this is yeah, so super excited about that. Then moving into September-ish, that's when I'll be doing the telepathy workshop, where we'll be practicing telepathy, because that's what I'm going to be talking about today, actually. And I should be talking about telekinesis, but I'm going to be doing that with Brian next week. So that's why I'll talk about telepathy today. And sorry, I've got a frog in my throat here. And then I really, really hope that would be so beautiful, because the last trip I put together, the Mary Magdalene trip, was stunning. It was absolutely beautiful. And I think I want to do another one, but next year in 2027. So if you're interested in doing the Mary Magdalene tour avec moi, in the south of France, please reach out and I will definitely keep you in the loop. I'll share with you parts of the tour so you know what to expect. And on Patreon, I'm starting a new series because I'm closing off the Saturna series, where Saturn is female and how to read that in the chart. That is also coming up. grand finale next Friday, and where I'll be walking with you in how to read that in the chart, how to read Saturn as a feminine force, supportive of the feminine in the chart. And we'll be going through everything, where it began, where I received the information from, how it works, and that Saturn isn't the masculine limiting energy that we think it is at all. And that's part of the mind trap that has kept us locked in to this cycle, to this perspective, to this worldview that we currently have of ourselves, of us as women, and how we show up in the world. So this is, I feel it's very important. I think it's ahead of its time, personally and honestly, but I'm not too surprised about that because it is from me. And so after that, I'll be doing a Mary Magdalene series where we dive into everything about the Magdalene. We'll be going through the Templar Knights, will be everything I know, all the secrets that I've learned, I'm going to be sharing with you. And trust me, there are a lot because I live right close by. I'm 5 hours away from the territory. And well, okay, maybe 10, 10 hours away from the territory, but a 1.5 hour flight, 10-hour drive. And it's absolutely, there's so much that happened in that region. And so we'll be going through all of it and the symbolism of it, and also looking at Venus star points and how Venus reflects the Magdalene in your chart, and the star points, the cyclical aspects of it, and how to read those. Of course, you're going to be able to use that for other people when you read other people's charts as well. So that's coming up, and I'll be starting that, like I said, in February, probably around February 14th, because I like the energy of Valentine's Day. So, what else? Yes, and then the grand finale is that I really, so pray with me, guys, because this would be amazing. I really want to, I loved it so much with the group work last year, and I did need time to recoup, to be honest, because I wasn't used to holding that energy like that anymore. But I love it. And I would like to have another little group tour, and not as intense, and focus maybe on telekinesis towards the end of the year, where we meet, we have a telekinetic retreat. We have a lot of fun. We move stuff together. We float a ball in the center, maybe. Or we do light as a feather, light as a feather. I don't know. And but we combine that with a little bit of sightseeing into spiritually or otherwise very interesting places that are not necessarily only on the out in the boonies. So remember that this country that I'm living in, Germany, is ground zero for a lot of stuff like the Rosicrucians, the Illuminati. So it's all here. Witch burnings, Germans, it, it- at the time, they they yeah, burned the most amount of women, so that's a track record that's here. Yeah, I have to be careful what I say after that. But in any case, they wrote down names, dates, locations in certain cities, and you can see those books still nowadays. So I'm pretty sure if people have that feeling that they had a past life that's connected to witchcraft, to being burned as a healer or as a medicine woman or something more positive than witch, because these were women that they burned. They weren't witches. That might be a kind of a tour that really can release some things, release some, right? Karmically, energetically, something from your past life there. Okay. So that's in the background, and I'm hoping we'll be able to do that this year. But of course, I need people to join because otherwise, it's not a group, it's just me. So if you're interested in that, please let me know, and that would be perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so let's dive into the topic of the day. And those of you, once again, that would like a reading once I've gone through what I've got to say here, please, the link is posted, pinned in the chat box all the way at the top, and you can go through that, and I will definitely get to you. Okay. So, let's see here. My topic of today, and it's a topic that I was thinking about because I was researching telekinesis and how some reports are, saying, yes, it's scientifically proven that it works, it exists, and then others are still on that bandwagon of, no, it doesn't exist. It's total hocus pocus and all of that. And I remembered this one experiment, and I'm going to start sharing screen in just a second. But I remember this one experiment where, excuse me, um, you guys, I have a frog in my throat. Hold on a sec. I know this. One sec. I'll be right back. Right back. Okay, sorry about that. I had to get rid of it. So in any case, I was thinking about telekinesis and how I was researching it and how they still haven't fully 100% acknowledged that it exists, but in certain corners they do acknowledge it and they do say that yes, it's true, it does work, and they're not quite sure how yet. And that reminds me of, I think it was Ray Kurzweil who said that, or Arthur Clarke, one of these science fiction authors, who said that a far advanced enough um, what do you call it? Far advanced enough science is going to appear like magic to us. And I think we're still kind of there. So don't be discouraged if you go online and you read like, oh, telekinesis is hocus pocus and it doesn't exist, because there are a lot of people out there that still need this for their identities, right? Because they need to align with the stronger, they need to come across as smart, they need to be seen as intelligent. And part of that is tearing down everything and anybody else. Intelligence becomes a sign that you can mock something or you can tear something down, but it's not real intelligence that moves things forward or that changes or that shifts or that elevates, right? So don't fall for it. It's cheap shots and cheap tricks. So I dove into telepathy because, and now I'll start sharing the screen with you. One second, because I remember this Ola experiment where telepathic communication is within reach. There we go. Share. So this was written back in 2014, and that's literally when I saw it. And as you guys can read, that's why I'm sharing. Scientists prove that telepathic communication is within reach. And this just popped up out of nowhere. And I was so irritated because after years of them saying that it is total hocus pocus, it is total BS, it doesn't, humans can't be telepathic, they come up with, yeah, there's a way to say hello with your mind. So you can read through it. I'll just leave this here, but a quick explanation of this experiment was that in 2014, Star Lab in Barcelona in Spain and Harvard Medical School researchers with lead scientists Rajat Rao and Alvaro Pascual Leone, they sent a word hello or hola to a person in France. A person in India sent it to the person in France using no speech, typing, or physical movement. And so what they did was in India, that person wore an EEG cap that can read brain signals. The sender thought specific thoughts to encode binary symbol signals, ones and zeros, and these signals were transmitted over the internet. The receiver in France wore a TMS device, so a transcranial magnetic stimulation device, and the receiver perceived flashes of light in their visual field. And the presence or absence of flashes encoded the binary message. And the receiver then decoded the flashes back into letters. And the final decoded word was hola. So, about 7,800 kilometers between India and France. This was the first documented human brain to brain transmission across continents. And this is important, this is not natural telepathy. It's brain signal reading, internet transmission, magnetic stimulation of another brain. So it wasn't brain to brain directly per se, it was brain to internet to machine to brain. But it proved something profound, that human thoughts can be digitally extracted and inserted into another nervous system in real time. Yeah. And that's a huge threshold moment in humanity. And it received almost no, like literally no coverage. I bet you, if you've heard of it, you've heard of it through me. Because I've mentioned this experiment before. That's huge, right? So it matters culturally because society dismisses natural telepathy as impossible, and yet simultaneously it celebrates technological telepathy as innovation, as something amazing because one can be controlled, right? The one with the machines in the middle, and the other can't. And natural abilities threaten centralized power. And but interface-based abilities, so the abilities that need that machine in the middle, they can be patented, they can be monetized, and they can be regulated. And that's exactly where we're headed today, right? That's exactly, and I'll dive into Neuralink in just a second, but we're going to go back on a history path here because this is part of, the psi side of things, right? The intuitive side of things, the psychic side of things. It also has a history. It also has like this stuff that is interesting to know, right? So after this experiment in 2014, in 2019, multiple labs repeated brain-to-brain messaging, simple words and commands. And from 2021 to 2024, Neuralink and similar BCI projects advanced thought to text typing. Of course, they sold this, right? So this is necessary for paralyzed people to be able to communicate. It is fantastic, right? They can think something, and the brain signals get translated into key movements, so they can type and so communicate through that. So that's awesome. But military research quietly expanded interest in neural communication networks. Why? So it's on. Anyways, I'm not gonna go there. So once technology, and this is what saddens me so much, is that once technology proves that something is possible, the old humans can't do this narrative, that storyline collapses. And that's when people start to believe. But they missed an opportunity, and this is why I'm offering these workshops now, telekinesis and telepathy. They missed an opportunity to discover it naturally within themselves because we don't need these interfaces. We don't need this technology. We don't need these machines that come in between us and jarble what we're trying to say to one another. We don't need it. So, and we don't need somebody controlling our channels. We don't need it. So, yeah. So, hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're talking about something that sits right at the edge of science, technology, and human potential, brain to brain communication, neural implants, and what people keep calling technological telepathy. And what fascinates me is not just the experiments themselves, but the contradiction we're living in. Natural telepathy is ridiculed as impossible, can't be done, while machine assisted mind to mind communication is okay and it's celebrated as innovation. So, tonight we're going to look at tonight on my end because it's already almost evening. That's why my lights are on here. So tonight we're going to look at what has actually been proven, what's been developed right now, and the bigger question behind it all, who controls the channel of human communication? Because this is what it's about. This is what it's about for Elon Musk, Neuralink, and all those kiddos that are trying to advance humanity. It's about control. And what does this mean for our future? Okay. So yeah. Let's go back in history and start looking at and this is not going to take too long. So for those of you that aren't history buffs, I'm not going to be here forever. I'll get to your questions in a second. And let me dive in to the chat here. I don't want to lose you guys. So let me stop share for a second. And what? Yeah. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. And let me know if everything's okay, if you guys can hear me okay, if you can see me okay, because I'm seeing warnings here that my stream rate is lower than it should be, but I hope it's all okay. All right. So next up, let's go back in time a little bit, and we've got the early 1800s. And this is like when they started recording the, what do you call it? The first experiments in telepathy. And let me just pull this up. Edmund Gurney and his thought transfer experiments. So there is a Society for Psychical Research in England, and it kind of is the basis for those of you that love Anne Rice and Anne Rice vampire books and vampire stories for the Talamasca Society. So if you guys know that, but let me just pull it up. So Society for Psychical Research in England. It's still there. And I also want Edmund Gurney thought experiments. And so you'll find his writings also on, okay, one second. Let me share screen again with you. Share. So here's the Society for Psychical Research, and it's still here. It's been around for ever. Yeah, well, okay, 1882, maybe not forever. But it's been so long that I've known about this group. And basically they literally log everything to do with psychical research, everything. And they have events, they have all kinds of things. So go ahead and check it out. But yes, in Anne Rice's books, this society was the basis for her Talamasca, which was also a society that logged the movement of vampires and strange creatures and all of that. So it's very, very interesting. They have tons of books, tons of information on psychical research. But anyways, Edmund Gurney, and you can see his writings are available as well on the National Institutes of Health still. But let's go to Wikipedia because that's quickest. So this guy here, he started here in 1882. The Society for Psychical Research was founded, and experiments were made in thought transference and hypnotism. And personal evidence as to uninduced hallucinations was also collected. So Edmund Gurney, their work included hypnotic suggestion and reports of telepathy-like phenomena. And but later scholars pointed out serious methodological flaws and even admitted some results relied on participants who used trickery. And I think that's why they threw out all the mediums after a while. Okay, so yeah. So then the next one was the Stanford experiments. And this is J.E. Coover who did this and the telepathy tests. And let's see here. Here on the Psi Encyclopedia, but there's also on the CIA.gov website, you can also see replication, them talking about it. So it's there. Okay. So I'm just going to click on this first link. So the Coover telepathy test, one of the earliest large-scale experiments on telepathy, was conducted in 1915 by Johnny Coover, a psychologist at Stanford University. He concluded that the results were wholly negative. However, this finding was later disputed by parapsychologists who examined his data. So it feels to me, and you can dive into it, that he was out to prove that it didn't work. That was his subconscious desire. Like his subconscious, I feel, because you can block stuff. If you look at a child, right, and they're about or somebody who's about to do sports, they're on, I don't know, they're doing a baseball game and the ball is flying in and they're about to, you can look at them and think they're going to hit a home run, or you can look at them and think they're never going to make it. They're never going to make it. And that thinking they're never going to make it influences and affects them. And I've done experiments in my groups and shown people how that thinking actually, literally, somebody else's nervous system picks it up and they feel it. And if they're not strong enough, it throws them off track. Okay. So it feels to me like he was kind of like this person. He wasn't aware that his thinking was also influencing the experiments that he was doing, right? And so I feel like he was just the impression that I get. He was, yes, disappointed that it didn't work out because everybody wants a thrill, but he was also part of why it didn't work out. So in any case, his findings led to a loss of interest in the subject of telepathy in the scientific community for more than a decade. He shut it down, literally. But his findings were immediately questioned by psychical researchers. In a review for the Society for Psychical Research, philosopher F.C. Schiller noted that the condition when the agent did not look at a card was not, in fact, a control condition, as Coover supposed, but a test of clairvoyance. The percipient psychically visualizing the cards rather than receiving thought impressions of them from the agents, because that's part of the problem is like, when you're doing telepathy, is you can do telepathy. You can read the thoughts. So, what he was doing was Coover's method was as follows. Coover and a telepathic agent, sender, sat together in one room with a deck of 40 playing cards, a regular deck with face cards removed, and a die, while the percipient, receiver, sat in another room. The deck was shuffled and a card picked. The agent either looked at the card or did not, depending on a roll of the die, and the percipient attempted to discern which card had been picked. Coover designated the experimental condition the one in which the agent looked at the card, and the control condition the one in which they did not. And the subjects were generally university students, although he also did trials with 10 individuals who claimed to have psychic ability. Having completed 10,000 trials, Coover calculated that there was no significant difference between the experimental and control scores and concluded that the results did not support the telepathy hypothesis. No trace of an objective thought transference was found either among the normal subjects or among those claiming psychic abilities. But again, right? So this is what they're talking about when they're saying, wait, the Society for Psychical Research, which is experienced in how this works, started seeing the results and started saying, wait, stop, hold on, let's go back over this. But it is what it is. They figured, and again, we know why they want this. We know that they want things to be controllable. We know that not being able to control specific things is scary to certain people. So it stuck. It stuck. And even though it went back and forth, and people were arguing it and going back and forth about it, it just stuck. So the next one that came up was in the 1930s, and you guys know about this, I'm sure. You guys know about the Zener cards, and J.B. Rhine at Duke University popularized the use of Zener cards. Those were the five symbols: the star, the square, the wave, the circle, in telepathy research. He collected data from hundreds of trials to see if subjects could guess cards hidden from view. Ryan reported slight deviations from chance. So, but critics pointed out methodological weaknesses. Later researchers largely stopped using his data as evidence because the replication was inconsistent. So that was this one here. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Let's just click on that one, first one. So Ryan and his test subject in the 1970s. And no, this is not a good one to click on. Let me show you the Zener cards for those of you that there are these cards here. Exactly. So these are the cards that they're talking about. You guys have seen these in all the paranormal movies and videos. And that's what they use to try to figure out if telepathy is possible. And Ryan was seemingly he believed it was, and he concluded that it did exist, but everybody else tore the experiments apart and concluded that nope, still not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. So what came next was the um Upton Sinclair's mental radio. Upton Sinclair documented informal experiments with his wife attempting to replicate images drawn by a distant sender. He reported above chance matching, but these tests were not conducted under rigorous controlled conditions and independent analysis were inconclusive. I'll skip that. Then there was Leonid Vasiliev's Soviet telepathy research. From the 1960s through 70s, Russian physiologist Leonid Vasiliev conducted telepathy experiments in the mid 1900s and claimed successful results. However, his team ultimately stated they could not conclusively establish telepathy's existence. Then in the 1970s, there was the Ganzfeld protocol, Charles Honorton and Ganzfeld telepathy from 1974 into the 1990s. The Ganzfeld experiment was developed to reduce sensory cues and create a uniform perceptual field. A sender attempts to mentally transmit an image to a sensory deprived receiver. So this is, if you guys watch Stranger Things, sensory deprived, they had nothing around them. They couldn't. Early researchers like Charles Honorton reported hit rates above chance across hundreds of tests, which some parapsychologists interpreted as suggestive of anomalous information transfer. The Otto Gansfeld series automated the procedure to tighten controls, and some analyses claimed above chance performance. But critics argue the effects are small, replication is inconsistent, and methodological issues like sensory leakage or experimenter bias. Manage settings. I don't want any cookies. No, 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 no. Save settings and exit. So anyways, in this one, it's written up somewhere in here. And that's on the New World Encyclopedia page. But in any case, to continue, the Otto Gansfeld series automated the procedure to tighten control, and some analysis has claimed above chance performance, but critics argue the effects are small, replication is inconsistent, methodological issues like sensory leakage or experimental bias remain unresolved. Then we had the 1970s to the 1990s with remote viewing and government linked programs such as remote viewing in Stargate, the Stargate program, which you guys know all about because some of you were in my remote viewing and course, which I will be doing an advanced one. Okay, so that I that might be in the fall as well. So that was floating around because someone asked me about it anyways today. So and I thought, okay, why not? So in any case, while technically focused on remote perception of locations or objects rather than direct telepathy, programs like Project Stargate overlapped with telepathic concepts. controlled remote viewing experiments produced mixed results were ultimately discontinued without operational success. And that is not the truth. Okay. We know that's not the truth. They said that they stopped Project Stargate. It went from the 70s to the 90s, and they stopped it then, but everybody believes that it was simply reclassified and put somewhere, hidden somewhere else. And the guys that were in the original Stargate program, they were the ones that brought remote viewing to the world because then they started teaching it, teaching courses, and so on and so forth. And they also shared their many successes and their clear successes that they'd had. And there are a couple stories that leaked out. For example, apparently Saddam Hussein was found with remote viewing. Apparently, Bin Laden was found with remote viewing. Apparently, remote viewers, I think it was Joe McMonigal or one of the other original ones who talked about the remote viewing that they did during the Iran Gate scenario. So back when those people were in, oh my gosh, I can't speak English anymore. So back when the Iran hostage situation happened with Americans being held hostage in Tehran in the 80s, and they used remote viewers to be able to scan the place and get into it and know when to get in and how to get in. In any case, it's all there. So I don't think they stopped the program. I just think they went a level deeper. Then in the early 2000s, there was Rupert Sheldrake, and Rupert Sheldrake was one of the originals in the remote viewing program at Stanford. And he was one of the ones that created the curriculum for the remote viewers to proceed with. And he and his collaborators published studies where participants attempted to guess who was calling before answering the phone, reporting hit rates above chance, 37 to 45% correct versus 25% expected by chance. So these studies often involved random selection of callers, blind guessing prior to knowing who was calling, they say. So now the 2010s to the present, we have a meta-analysis and reviews. So multiple meta-analysis of Ganzfeld and telepathy experiments have been published. Some conclude small but statistically significant deviations from chance, while other analyses find no reliable effects when controls are stricter. So, contemporary reviewers, for example, the Parapsychological Association review, note that the evidence is heterogeneous and contested, but not entirely dismissible as random outcome. So, what else here? Then there is, so that's the problem. Yeah, I'll stop there. That's the problem is that it's not, the conditions that we have, though, are not conducive to these kind of experiments. And they want these kind of experiments done in a certain way because that's what they quote is the science, is that it is exact and it is replicable and that it's controlled, right? And but that's not how it works. It's like with prayer. Sometimes your prayers are answered and sometimes they're delayed and sometimes they're not. And it's not something, it's something that's out of our control. And they don't like that at all, at all, at all, at all. So let me check the chat and see where you guys are at. You probably just let me run on the side, right? Right. Seeing and hearing. Okay. So do pendulums read universal truth or your own inner energy? Both, both, absolutely both. They can, it depends on you. It depends on you. And if you're absolutely in a state of absolute inner equilibrium, peace, and there's a detachment to the outcome of your question, then it can absolutely give you accurate insight. But if you have an attachment to the outcome of your question, then it can swing into the bias of your question or your energy. And you can absolutely practice how your energy can influence things with a pendulum. Just tell it to push right or push left, and it will do that. So yes, it's both. I love to work with a pendulum. And as a matter of fact, and I'm gonna share this with you guys, sneak peek. But there's something else that's going out because some of you guys know I have that collector circle on Patreon where I share these beautiful, beautiful, they're going to be beautiful, absolutely beautiful laser prints. And so this is what's going out for this month. And speaking of pendulums, it's a beautiful pendulum board. Don't you love it? So those in my collector circle, they're going to be receiving this, but there's also a second item that is going out with them. I'm not going to share that with you, but they're getting this. So this is going out. Yes. So happy. So, so happy. Of course, nicely packaged and gift wrapped and put together. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, that is gorgeous. It is. I know. I can't wait until they get it into their hands. But yes, so then we have with this all this telepathy stuff, we have the issue around let's have a look at how far Elon Musk has gone and the Neuralink and what it's supposed to be able to do. Neuralink telepathy. I'm just going to type that in. And once again, share, share. So Neuralink's telepathy product is a brain-computer interface, or BCI, as you guys know, initially designed for to let people control computers and devices with their thoughts, especially for those with paralysis. But its ultimate goal, termed consensual, you guys, if this continues, I promise you the next generation is going to have ads played to them in their sleep. Did you guys see that Simpson episode where that happened? They were being reprogrammed in their sleep and they were having ads played to them. Yeah. So aims for direct mind-to-mind communication, though this is far more complex and faces major technical and ethical hurdles. Do you think? While current trials focus on restoring autonomy by decoding brain signals to operate tech like playing chess or controlling a mouse, the future vision involves transmitting complex thoughts between brains, requiring sophisticated signal interpretation and neurocompatibility, a concept still in early development. So, current capabilities of the BCI, and this is important for us to know, and I feel like it's all being glossed over. They're making all these advancements, they're moving ahead, and people aren't really keeping up, but we have to keep up because this is going to impact our lives. This is really going to take a huge impact on us. So, we've got thought control. Participants with paralysis can control phones, computers, and other devices just by thinking, allowing them to perform tasks previously impossible. And yet they want to tell us that telekinesis and telepathy is impossible without their help and their interference, right? Device integration. The link implant, a coin-sized device in the skull, wirelessly connects to a computer, interpreting neural signals to translate intent into action. Restoring autonomy, early users have reported significant improvements in independence, enabling them to do more for themselves. Direct thought, future vision, mind to mind telepathy, that's what they're working on. The long term goal is to send and receive complex thoughts, ideas, and intentions directly between individuals, bypassing speech or text, enhanced communication. This could enable communication thousands of times faster than current methods, potentially creating a symbiosis with AI. We know that we know that's going to happen. Like that's not even an if, it's a when. So there's a technical complexity and safety and ethics that they have to overcome. But otherwise, it already works. It already works. Okay. So I want to share something with you guys that I have permission to share with people. Unfortunately, this man did not want to I was supposed to do an interview with him, but he first said yes, he was going to do it, and then he said he withdrew from that, but he left me the pictures and all of that and told me it's, basically do with it as you will. I just have to find it now again in my many, many folders. Do 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 do. Hang in there. I'll be right with you. Odds and ends only. No, no. Found it. Okay. So for some of you, you might have seen this before. I won't be well, I might be I won't be showing the worst of them that I have here. So what happened was this man I met while I was living in Mexico. And right in the first year that I moved there, I think, back in 2019. And he had a major car accident, vehicle accident, like major, and he barely survived. And he wouldn't have survived because of the excruciating cost of getting the things done that he needed to have done to survive this accident. If his wife hadn't been approached, like in the movies, by this group that said that they were experimenting with something, and if he would be willing, they would cover all the costs, and they were sure it could help save his life. So they both said yes, and he agreed to this brain implant. This wasn't back in 2019. This was already back in 2014, 15. And he was one of the, I think, the early or the mid, probably mid, because back then they were saying that they didn't have permission to do it on human beings, right? They remember when I think this, I don't remember exactly when, but it was back in 2020 after COVID started that Elon had to go through this whole process of trying to get approvals to be able to do the first implant on a human being. So it was said. So it was said. And he said that he'd done the first implant on the first human being ever. But I'm going to show you pictures. And these pictures are from way back. Like I'm not going to show you the most horrible pictures. So 1 second here. These are still going to be okay. I'm not going to show you the most horrible pictures also because it's probably won't help me get this video going. So he had this horrible, horrible, horrible thing, and he got this brain implant. Oops. So this is what it looked like. And he shared those with me. This is what they said they were going to do. So here's the implant. That's him and his wife. And it took him forever, forever, ever, ever to integrate that. He had Bell's palsy. He had his entire body was rejecting that thing, and he had to have multiple operations to help it connect with his body. So it's yeah. But what it did was it connected him to his doctors, immediately to his doctors. He told me his doctors could read everything about him, how much he'd slept, his all his inner vitals, like in the movies. Literally, they got all the information in the readout. And it didn't matter where he was in the world, it would send that information back to his doctors. That's why he was in Mexico at the time. That's where I met him. And his doctors were able to send signals to this chip to shift things in his body, to create certain impulses within his brain, so that he, for example, wouldn't have the desire to eat or things of that nature. Like it was just wild. And in the beginning, I had a hard time because that was back in 20, like I believed him because I'm a pretty open person, but I still couldn't, I was like, what the hell? And so he had one final operation, and then he was doing really good. Like he was doing really, really, really well. And then he decided he didn't want to do the interview anymore. But like I said, I was free to share the images and tell people about it. But then when Elon came out and said, "Oh, I have the first person with a brain, the first human being," I thought, here we go again, this is the story of my life where for some reason, for whatever reason, God keeps showing me the truth first, and then something shows up like that. Like it all started back when in I was in nursing and I met somebody I shouldn't have met. And I told that story in different places. I won't repeat that here. But yeah, so here we are. And so if they're that far, as with my acquaintance that I just showed you guys, if they were already that far all those years ago, you can just imagine where they're at today. And so whatever they're telling us out there that they're capable of doing, it's more than that. It is more than that. It is more than that. We are kept so in the dark. Anyhow, am I boring you guys? Are you guys still there? Again, if you would like a reading or an answer to your question, the link is in the posted at the very top of the chat, and you can just go there and post your question. Okay. Thank you very much to those of you that have posted your questions. Thank you so much. I'll be getting right to them. So, yeah. So back to telepathy and whether it works or not. Yes, it does work. And if you join me in the workshop in September, that's when I'll be doing it. You're going to see that it absolutely works and that you can do it. And all it takes is practice and a refocusing of what you're focused on, and you'll be able to pick up things from other people. And that you do it all the time naturally. You absolutely do it all the time naturally. It's one of the most natural things. And that you can hear thoughts. You can hear people's thoughts. You can read thoughts, and that thoughts are not private, and that you think they are, but they're not. And so you learn to keep your thoughts private. You learn to keep your energy contained. So there's a whole lot that goes in with telepathy, not just reading each other's thoughts, but a whole lot around that as well. And that's all going to be part of the workshop. Okay. So look forward to that. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm excited because this is the first time I've done a telepathy workshop, but it's something I've been experimenting with and working with and for years. And that's part of the thing too with readings, right? Is sometimes well, we had to learn to differentiate when I was taking mediumship. We had to learn to differentiate where we received our information from in mediumship to make sure and ensure that it was real mediumship and actual mediumship, meaning the information is coming from spirit and not that you're reading the memory fields, the auric field, or you're in the telepathic field and you're picking up information from the sitter, that you are actually receiving information from spirit. So we had to absolutely learn to differentiate where it was coming in from. So, yeah, because some people get mediumship readings and they think, oh my God, that was so amazing. That was like they told me everything I knew. That should be a hint. So, in any case, moving on. Let's let's move on here. So telekinesis in March and telepathy in September. Lenormand in April, and the Aura reading workshop is already on Feb 13th. Sign up for it now, and then it's out of your way. You've got your spot, and you just show up, and we do an aura reading on you. You do an aura reading on us, and we have a lot of fun. We aura read the plants and the buildings, and it teaches you as well. Like when we do go dive into that, when I used to do the in-person workshops on these topics, I would always, a part of the workshop would be that we would walk down the street. Because how often do you walk down the street and you don't even remember what you saw? You're not even present. You're not even aware. You don't even know where you are. And I wouldn't tell them. I'd say, okay, let's go for a walk. And the first day we'd come back and I was like, okay, what did you guys see? Like, do you remember this? Do you? And they were like, no, like what? Like, I'm like, where are you guys? You're not here on planet Earth. How can you be a bridge if one leg is missing of the bridge? If your bridge only goes this far, like if you want to be a bridge, you got to go all the way. That means you have to be just as present here on Earth and grounded as you are on the other side. Nobody likes a shaky bridge, right? So it's very important that you're aware of your surroundings and this perspective of being able to pick up on everything and pick up on the small things and all of that. It heightens your perception, it heightens your perspective, and you sensitize, you sensitize. So then the second time we'd go out, they'd pick up a lot more. The third time they'd remember a lot more, and then they got the hang of it. And it shifts your the way you look at things, the way you look at the world around you. So, yeah, do that. Do that. Let's see here. I knew a guy with an artificial heart 10 years before they came out with the first. There you go. There you go. Yuppers. I believe that. I believe that. I believe that. Yeah. 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 And so some of the things that they've been working on that I've picked up on is or I'm keeping an eye on the cell phone implant in the lower arm. Yeah. Like this is, you don't even want to look it up anymore. But you have to know because this is what your kids are going to be getting into, you know? This is what your next job is going to demand of you. This is what, and everybody that thinks, oh, that'll never happen. Yeah, yeah. Look at the United States today. We all we're all in shock. We're like, all of us 5 years ago would have said that will never happen. And here we are. So yeah. Cell phone implant in the lower arm. Cell phone implants in the lower arm or hand are a reality in the form of NFC, near field communication, or RFID microchips, with thousands of people, particularly in Sweden, already using them for daily convenience. While they do not function as full smartphones, i.e., you can't make calls or watch videos on them yet, these tiny rice-sized biocompatible chips allow for various contactless phone integrated functions. So they are great for contactless payments. Chips from companies like Walletmore allow users to pay for goods with a wave of their hand, working similarly to a debit credit card. Access control, the chips can replace keys, gym passes, office ID badges, allowing users to unlock doors with their hand. Data storage and sharing, they can store digital business cards, social media profiles, or emergency contact information. Setup and management, these implants are managed via an app on a smartphone. For example, some like those from I Am Robot. This is insane. Can be charged or topped up via NFC placement and safety. They're usually inserted between the thumb and the forefinger or in the forearm using a syringe, a process similar to a vaccination. They're considered safe, biocompatible, and do not require batteries. Yeah. So, but Apple introduces human OS chip that naturally turns your um, body into, let me just click on that, into an iPhone. Oh, that's just 11 days ago. See, I didn't even see this yet. That's why I'm like, stuttering along. I didn't even see this video yet. And I'm like, I know I saw it though. I saw not this video, but I saw on the WEF, there was somebody who was I think it was a couple of years ago. There was somebody who was hosting I'll look that up in just a second, who was hosting a talk, who was doing a talk on these types of implantable cell phones. And so here we are. So yeah, this is interesting.
To several sources in Silicon Valley, including people who previously worked with Apple at the level of semiconductor supply chains and related R&D contractors. The company has entered a deeply closed development phase of a fundamentally new product that inside the corporation is described not as a device, not as an accessory, and not even as a continuation of the iPhone or Vision lineup, but as a new level of human technology convergence. And this wording, according to insiders, is increasingly used in closed internal presentations. The project involves a special computing module informally referred to as a which relies on directly connecting neurons to silicon. Apple, according to sources, has chosen a more subtle and more scalable path.
Okay, you guys can watch it. I uh uh I'm not like I'm not, it's not even the tech that I'm against. It's not the tech that I'm against. It's who's behind it that I'm concerned with, if that makes, I hope that, yeah. I think the tech, it could be fun for people to play with. It's definitely convenient. It's absolutely, and I mean, I'm pretty sure ChatGPT is saving lives, quite literally, which is a positive thing. It's the people behind it that I'm concerned with, and the directions that they dictate to us that I'm concerned with. So yeah. Anyways, you guys, that was my word to Sunday for Sunday. And I'll dive into the readings now, and you guys can let me know what you think or anything that you've seen that I didn't mention or anything like that. Back in the 1990s, I remember going to a revival and they were talking about the chips in the arm and head and how they were massive beasts. And I laughed at the time. Yeah, we all did. I remember when they all said, "Oh, that's just a conspiracy theory. It's not real." Meanwhile, they were all working on it. Yeah. Yeah. All righty. So let's get into the reading part. And again, those of you that are just joining, welcome. And thank you so much for being here and being a part of this. I love your energy. I have the best chat ever. Very peaceful, very calm. And let me dive in now into the questions. If you have a question, the link is at the top of the description. I appreciate all the support. We all need to live. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much in supporting me in that. And I'm just going to switch the camera so you can see the cards that I'm pulling while I'm doing the readings. And I hope there's enough light. Yes. Okay. All righty. So let's dive into the readings. And the first question is from Erin. I had a problem at work. In a nutshell, the project manager got really angry at me, over the top anger, and I felt very unfairly treated. I haven't felt this bad at my job in a long time. Could you tell me how the situation will be resolved, please? Thank you. I'm so sorry to hear that. It feels like everybody's stressing out right now. Everybody's super stressed. It's a very high energy year that we're stepping into. A lot of shifts and changes for a lot of people are happening on the small as well as on the bigger levels. Energetically, there's a shift and a change happening for sure, as we know. So, And it feels like you work anyways in a high stress environment, Erin. Like everybody's under pressure, everybody's under stress, everybody's got something to prove. It's very competitive, I feel. Um, yeah, so the first card that shows up for you, Erin, is the moon. Yeah. And that is clearly telling me that you have a lot of anxiety around this question and that this question is very, very, very it's causing you can't sleep at night. It's causing you a lot of worries and concerns. So that's the problem. Solution, we've got the Queen of Pentacles, and the solution seems to be just being really grounded in your approach, being very pragmatic, being very grounded, water off a duck's back. Just keep doing what you're doing, just keep showing up, doing what you're doing. And it could be that this person is, I'm going to pull a card for her in a second, but it could be that she is, no, I'm going to pull a card. Okay. The outcome is the Three of Cups. Everything's going to work out for you. Everything's going to be fine. It's going to be totally, totally, totally fine. It's going to blow over. Just keep doing what you're doing. Just be very grounded and don't let it get to you. Okay. As to this person, your supervisor, what's up with her? What's her problem? And we've got the Five of Cups. She's severely, as a deeply disappointed in something. Um, Deeply disappointed. So this is an emotional thing. She got very emotional. And this may not even have anything to do with you. This just reflects a deep disappointment that she was feeling that day anyways. She's a very emotional person, Queen of Cups. So it could be that she feels that you don't register her emotions, right? So I'm an emotional person too. And when I encounter people that are very practical or very grounded, sometimes I wonder, like, do you even get my feelings? Do you even like yeah, it's hard for feely people sometimes, and it's hard for people that are very practical and grounded to deal with feely people sometimes. So it's I don't know, but this feels very emotional to me. Like there's something where she got really frustrated, really emotional, but she's not negative towards you. And that's what I was going to look at. Is she negative towards you? And that's not what I'm picking up. Okay. This is really tied to the situation and her way of dealing with things. And so she's going to look, the sun, it's going to blow over. Don't worry about it. Don't stress. Okay. Don't stress. She was going through something at that time, and somehow it hit you hard, and you were just in the way. But at the same time, both of you have very different ways of dealing or coping with things, and that caused the rift. But she's not negative towards you. Okay, you can see that, I hope. All right. So don't stress. Don't worry about it. Okay. Let's see here. Let's move on to the next one, which is, let's see, Eleanor. Oh, yes, there was a recording on it. There was a recording on it and it's sent to you. So, yeah, thank you for the donation. But yes, as to I'll email you on that, Eleanor. You didn't have to like go through that, but yes. Then the next question was Celestial Infinity. Am I going to be able to get the house I want? And if so, when will I be able to move? Let's have a look. Will I be able to get the house I want? And if so, when will I be able to move? Celestial Infinity. Celestial Infinity. Will I be able to get the house I want? And if so, when will I be able to move? Celestial Infinity. When will I get the house I want? If so, when will I be able to move? Celestial Infinity. The house. Celestial Infinity. The house. Got the Eight of Swords. Okay. You feel completely trapped, stuck, tied up, can't move, can't see, like it's all foggy, it's nebulous. You can't see the forest for the trees. You don't know how things are going to be moving or when they're going to be moving. This is your situation right now. So, problem, solution, the tower. Oh, this is not good. Outcome, the Nine of Swords. Also not good. Clarification, please, how to fix that. Okay. Clarification, please, how to fix that. Okay. And the foundation. Okay. So it seems one more card since we might as well balance this here. How to fix this. Okay. All right. So what the cards are telling me is that you might be rushing things, Celestial Divinity. Okay. You might be rushing things a little bit. So this first row is what's happening, and this second row is how to remedy it, and the bottom, the final card is the foundation. So what it's all based on, why things are going the way they're going. And what it's telling me here, Celestial, is that you feel stuck. You feel so stuck. And the next thing is that there's a big disappointment. So it might be that I'm not going to say yes or no, but right now with these cards, it's looking like a no at this moment in time regarding the house that you want. And that leads into the Nine of Swords. So devastation. What do I do now? Thinking, catastrophizing, but this might also be how you show up right now energetically. Okay. That's why I'm hesitating to say, no, you're not going to get the house, because this might be how you show up energetically. And you having to be careful that you don't manifest how you're showing up energetically. And that is a very negative mindset towards what you want, right? And feeling like I'm not going to get it anyways. Now, the remedy for that is to, number one, it says here temperance. So you have to learn to be patient and to allow time to clear the fog. There's that ancient saying that if you can't see in the fog, then take your time and wait for the fog to clear before you make a move. So for that, you have to learn patience. You have to be patient. And things are coming together, like in this card with the fire rolling into the lava, rolling into the sea. Like it's coming together. It's building new land. It's building new earth. It's building a new thing, shelf to stand on. But you have to be patient. It's in the process of becoming. And then the second one with the tower is the Knight of Wands. And I want to say here, you got to move. Okay. So you're going to be moving for sure. But it also is a literal movement. So go running, go jogging, go for a walk, move your body. It feels like you might not be doing that enough. If you are, then try to turn it into some kind of meditation. Here we have another movement card, which is the Chariot. So that's like strengthening this you have to move yourself, you have to get something into movement yourself, and the Chariot is definitely following your pathway, following the way you're meant to go. Now, what it's all based on and why everything is going the way it's going is the Five of Stones. Okay, this is the Five of Pentacles, and the Five of Pentacles is a tricky card to deal with. It has to do with lack of self-worth. It has to do with lack of self-esteem. It has to do with lack of money, lack of support, feeling rejected, feeling abandoned, these kinds of things. So, how do we remedy that? Do things that make you happy, okay? And this is what I to shift your perspective, to shift your energy, it's really important that you do thing a little, something little every day that shows you you are worth it, okay? And I hate to say indulge in ice cream, because that's the one thing that is not healthy. So maybe not. But it's along that principle, okay? If you would like, yeah, understand. So a little bit every day and not overdoing it, not going too far, but showing your entire system you are valuable. You receive what you crave, you receive what you need, you receive what you want. You're fine. Like showing that to your system every day. And over time, your system will change and you will become more positive, more independent, more strong in your movements instead of being reactionary, which is what it seems you are now. Okay. So they're asking for your patience, or spirit is asking for your patience. They're asking you to keep focused on the move, but also to literally get out and move and to make things happen, follow your own pathway. Okay. Don't fall into this. I'm stuck. Everything's terrible. Everything's horrible. I hate my life. Like, don't do that. Okay. Do not. All right. Okay. So if any of you have any other question, please don't hesitate to post it. Use the link at the top and I will get to you. I will get to your question. Let me see if another one came in. Elena, I don't have a question, but can you pull some cards for me? Absolutely. Absolutely. Elena de Leon. So, oops. Elena, let's pull some cards for you. What does Elena need to know? What does Elena need to know right now, please? What does Spirit need Elena to know right now? What does Spirit need Elena to know right now? So the overall energy for you, Elena, oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. So Spirit's saying they're acknowledging your need to feel connected, to feel belonging, to feel a partnership, maybe, right? The partnership for you, the partner for you. And I'm not quite sure if you're single or not. I'm not picking up this overwhelming loneliness vibe when I tap into your energy. You seem stable in the situation that you're in. But there's this stress around love or partnership that is showing up here. Okay. So there might be some healing that is needed around the experience of partnership, healing that is needed within a partnership, or healing that is needed for a partnership. Okay. But they're definitely talking about your ability to, or willingness to connect here. Okay, what else does Helena need to know, please? What else does Helena need to know? What else does Helena need to know? So I'm not going to do a problem solution outcome because I don't want to focus on problems. So I'll do a body, mind, spirit for you. Okay. So body, mind, spirit. Look at that. Beautiful. I like that. So it feels like for Elena, the body is showing up with temperance, and there's some kind of balancing that needs to happen here, and it has to happen slowly over time. It feels like your body is relatively okay. It's fine, but with the temperance card showing up, there's a balance that needs to be held. So there might be something that you can do to contribute towards that balance better, and you'll know what it is, whether it's more sleep, whether it's more working out, whether it's drinking more water, whether it's eating better, whatever it is, you'll know what it is. And it's only something minor because the temperance card is actually very, very positive and it shows that time heals all things. So do that and you'll find everything taking off with your body. Okay. When it comes to your mind, the great work, this is an extra card. There are two extra cards in this deck, which I find absolutely wonderful. They're well thought out and they fit well into the deck. And one of them is the great work. And the great work is the absolute final card of the major arcana in this deck. And it has to do with spirit itself working with you as part of the great work of manifesting God's will on earth. Isn't that great? So this is spirit literally acknowledging, hey, we heard you. We heard you need a message from us because this card is about spirit fulfilling the great work. And you're on track, you're on path, you're okay, you're doing fine. Keep doing what you're doing. We are working through you. We are working with you and we are working through you. And we are going to fulfill the great work. Okay. And here we have the outcome, which is the Ace of Cups. So, absolutely beautiful. And that you're going to feel absolutely balanced and okay. You're going to feel harmonious and whole. And there's a new emotional beginning coming for you in something. Okay. It might be this relationship that they first referenced here. But there's a new emotional beginning coming for you where you're able to release the past, you're able to forgive, you're able to move forward and feel that liberation of the exhale of I finally let go now. I can release, I can let go. And just you're not holding your breath anymore. You're not holding your breath. So in all of these are beautiful cards. The only one that was challenging is this one, and it shows the overthinking mind, the mind that just can't shut off at night, that goes on and on and on in a circle, catastrophizing, ruminating, thinking about things over and over and over again. And so when we pull that out, all that remains is beauty for you. Okay? Beauty, absolute beauty and balance. And yes, you are loved by spirit, you are seen by spirit, you are acknowledged by spirit. Spirit knows your name. You have a spiritual guide and a spiritual connection, and spirit is working through you. And you're not just randomly tossed into the waves of life, but you are very specifically put where you are placed as part of the great work. This is one of the most beautiful cards you can get. Okay. So I hope that helps. Yay. And otherwise, I love you guys. I love this chat so much, even though I like my quiet little corner. I like my quiet little corner. Oh, but yeah, I'm building up a second channel, like I said, and if you would like to know what the second channel is, it's over on my Patreon. I want to keep it completely separate from this one for energetic reasons as well. But also the second channel is also where I'm going to be trying to connect with my German audience too. So I'll be having German videos over there as well, whereas this one is only going to be in English. And what else? Yeah, ever since I said that, I think a couple people took it to heart, and this channel has started to shrink. And I'm like, I am so exhausted trying to build this channel. I am so exhausted. Now it's shrinking instead of growing. So I think I've lost like 50 subscribers in the last, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So that's interesting as well. So, oh well. So if you see the numbers change, I can't help it. That's what's going on. I'm just going to continue to be me. That's all I can do. And yeah, my tribe will find me just like you. Let's see here. Yeah. There are a couple of series on Netflix about that kind of implant. One was called The Feed. I don't remember the other one. Oh, I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna look that up. I've started practicing my German because of your new channel, so thanks for the inspiration. Awesome. 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 Who knows? I didn't even want to get into the topic of the day today, which is Greenland and Trump for us over here in Europe. It's a huge topic now, and people are annoyed that it is a topic, and people are annoyed that it's a topic at all. And then even more annoying is the response that they had to send 11 soldiers to, well, Germany sent, I think, 11 or 13 soldiers to Greenland. Denmark sent a handful of soldiers. France, I think, sent another handful. So there's a small representation over there of EU/NATO. But that's the whole point of that whole situation around Greenland is they want it all to fall apart, like everything, the entire North Atlantic Alliance, the entire structure of it. It's they want to fall it apart. So, yeah. The reset is on its way, my friends. It's on its way. So, hold on to your loved ones, hold on to everything that's near and dear to you, and hang in there. We'll get through and it's going to look amazing on the other side, but not because of them, because of us and what we do and what we choose to do. Yeah. Yay, Twinkly. So happy you're on both. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I won't keep you guys much longer. I have exactly, let me see, 30 seconds until it's exactly 1:30. So 1 hour and 30 minutes. Make sure you guys are with me on the interview with Brian Lahr that's coming up on Thursday. And also those of you that are on my Patreon, hey, join the collector circle and see what you get. I do mail outs every month. And this month there will be 2 items in the mail out because for last month as well. And yeah, and just as a hello surprise. And make sure you're there for the Saturna closing off. The Saturna series. I now call her Saturna. She's no longer Saturn to me. So mean. Taking away her power like that and giving it to a man. Yeah. So yeah. All right. Otherwise, have a wonderful, amazing week, you guys. And if you have any topics that you would like to hear about, please let me know and just email me or write it in the comment section. Otherwise, I'm wishing you all the very, very, very best. And thank you so much for being here. Take care. Bye.